Okay, so opportunity cost. We've already seen how because of unlimited wants but limited resources, we do have to make choices. We cannot simply opt for all of the options or alternatives that may exist because of limited resources. When we do make a choice to pick one particular option over another, we suffer from what is known as opportunity cost. So we can define opportunity cost in this particular case uh, as the economist term for costs expressed in terms of foregone alternatives. What do I mean by this? An example could be what I'm basically doing right now. The opportunity cost of making these videos um, for me would be that one episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine that I could have watched, or that half an hour of sleep that I could have caught up on. So basically, your next the cost of in terms of your next best alternative or alternatives, right? Um, just to further clarify, well, that's basically it for the conceptual side of opportunity cost. We link it in with TPC and stuff like that there, but that's pretty much it for the theoretical part here. Just to just clear up a few concepts. If you can do a few questions, one or two, that would really help. Okay, so an individual has an appointment with his bank manager. He has a choice between traveling to the appointment by car or leaving the car at home and traveling by bus and then by train. So these are the two options that he has, the two alternatives, right? And you can only pick one, right? The costs of the journey are given below, and you have stuff like this. And they've asked the opportunity cost to the individual of traveling by car instead of traveling by bus and train. So your opportunity cost, again, when you look at it quantitatively, you're going to look at it, you're going to compare it. So you look at it as a comparative, right? So you compare the cost of what the option he opted for compared to the other alternative. So the option he went for was taking his car, which the costs associated with that are basically these: parking charge, petrol, wear and tear costs. This is 7. And the other option, the other alternative would where he had to travel by bus and train would given him, $5. So the opportunity cost would be 7 minus 5 because you are looking at it on a comparative, giving you 2. And that's your correct answer, right? So another question, if this could load. Yeah. Where is it? Yeah, so 2. And this is the more theoretical part. So what is the opportunity cost to an unemployed worker? I have turned on. Yeah, to a to an unemployed worker who becomes employed. So this is a guy who initially was really free, was unemployed, and now he's employed. So what's the opportunity cost now that he's working? For example, as part A suggests, he cannot have, he doesn't have all that leisure that he might have had when he was unemployed, and hence that would be your correct answer, right? Um, if you look at part C, the wages that the worker is paid, that would be true if he was employed and now he's unemployed, right? If he's not working and the other alternative was to work, then the alternative uh, that you kind of left behind, the cost of leaving that behind, or of foregoing that, would be the wages that you could have earned. If, however, you opted to work rather than to stay at home, the cost of foregoing that option of staying at home and of not staying at home and going to work is the leisure that you could have had. And that's basically it for this particular concept.